Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Giving a quick update this morning. Not really got a whole bunch to do today, but I just wanted to give a quick update. Start off here showing I had planted this red romaine here, and it looks like it's taken hold. Something's sprouting up right there. Who knows what that is? We'll find out. I'll probably end up just pulling it. Still have not planted this blueberry out in the garden yet. I'm trying to figure out how to do it. These two here, I don't know if I've shown this. This is a mulberry cutting, and this is a Barbados cherry cutting, and I'm going to put those in the garden. But they actually, I was not sure if they were going to take, but they both did, and they're looking pretty good. This dragon fruit in there is the one that like half of it died off or something. Looks like it might be trying to grow up again from the bottom, so we'll see about that. I might stick this in the garden as well. This is a Hamlin orange seed that I planted, so we'll see what happens with that. But anyways, we'll walk out to the garden. I tell you what I need to do is I need to come over in here into the flower bed, and I need to hoe up some of this. A lot of that's the wood sorrel that likes to grow in there, but hoe some of that up, and I need to put some more mulch down. I harvested one of the key limes. The other one's still there. It's not big enough yet, but I harvested one of them. I haven't used it yet, but I will. Probably just use the juice and something, but there's not a whole bunch going on. The Cranberry Hibiscus is actually blooming, which they're so pretty. That dark red. It's very happy here. I was wondering about it when it kind of fell over, but I don't know. It's looking really good. Everything looks really healthy. What does not look healthy is these okra plants over here, but I don't know. I've got some more planted back here, and this pear tomatoes growing like crazy. It's got a ton of tomatoes on it, but they're all green still. My concern is that it's not going to get enough sun to ripen them up, but we'll see what happens. I pulled out this Everglades tomato here. It finally just gave up the ghost, and it was just dying. It hung on for as long as it could. It survived several pest attacks, but it just gave up the ghost. There's some sweet potato coming up there. These are pear tomatoes as well, and they're doing really well. They're blooming. They look really, the stems look really thick and hardy, as you can see, like in the middle here. Looks really healthy. Some people swear by pruning tomatoes a certain way to help with production and to help with various things. I don't know exactly how to do that. A lot of times I just let the tomato plants do what they want. Now, obviously you can see I've put them in tomato cages, which will help keep them from just going all over the place, but I'm not sure exactly how to, trim them in the specific way that people talk about. But yeah, got some more pear tomatoes over here. That's an okra. That's another sweet potato popping up right there. That's an okra, pear tomato, and okra. So these and that right there might be a sweet potato, but it might be a weed. We'll find out. But yeah, the snake beans are starting to really take off here. This one might be ready to be picked. A good way to measure if a snake bean is ready is to measure it. Put your fingers on one end and hold on 1 second here. Measure it down your forearm. You may have to straighten it out some, but you can kind of see this one. You can't really see. This one is ready because it was going all the way. When you stretch it out, it was from the tips of my fingers to the crook of my elbow. So that's a good way to measure it. So there's one. This one here, I think this one might be ready. Yeah, that looks ready. We'll pick that one. And I think if these are like other beans and peas, that the more you pick, the more it produces. These, I don't think, nope. See, the two that are in my hand are ones that are ready, and I can tell that the two that I'm holding here on the vine are not ready because they're not as long. That one is, so we'll pick that one. And nope, that one's not. So, but you can see these two little kind of antenna looking things right here. Those are beans that are about to, they're growing. There's a flower bud right there, and then that will bloom and it'll fall off and it'll create beans. And you can see there's a flower bloom right there. They make these soft purple flowers that are really pretty, but they're growing all the way up there. Hopefully, I'd like for them to find, like that one is, find the horizontal bars and just start growing that way. But they seem happy, and they're growing and they're producing. And the good thing about these beans is it doesn't take as many to make a side dish. You don't have to grow bushes and bushes and bushes and bushes of them. I'm not saying that you shouldn't, because they're delicious, but you know, with a lot of beans, you gotta, they're only about that long. Well, with these, I get, I snap these, a few times. So you're gonna fill up a bag, you're gonna fill up a can or whatever, however you're gonna store them, a lot quicker than your typical bush beans or pole beans or something like that. So that's just one more wonderful thing about snake beans, and I encourage anyone who's gardening in Florida to grow them. Right now, technically, I don't think is the time to grow them, but especially if you're in North Florida, I wouldn't grow them now unless you were, growing them in a greenhouse or something, because we have had some chilly weather, and I don't know. I know here it got down into the upper 40s a couple times, so up north in North Florida it probably got even lower than that. I don't know if that's enough for y'all to have frost, but these beans don't like cold weather all that much. So if you're in North Florida, I wouldn't grow these right now. I would grow them in the spring. My everbearing is making a comeback, which makes me happy, because I was worried about this thing because the leaf rollers had really gotten to it, but I pruned it pretty good and it's making a comeback. And every time you prune, I've noticed, every time you prune a mulberry, it starts to make fruit again. So my lemongrass here has gotten taller than me. I need to come cut a bunch of it and mulch with it. But yeah, the trees, nothing's really gonna be going on with the trees. This persimmon is hanging on, but it's not super happy. I bought some more fertilizer spikes, and I need to come out and put them in the ground. All of a sudden, this isn't looking too good either. But it is getting to the time of year where some of these trees start to wind down, and they'll start to either completely lose their leaves. This is the Florida avocado. It's putting leaves on again. This thing grows like a weed. It grows, I guarantee you, this thing grows twice as fast as that Haas avocado I've got planted on the other side of the yard. It's amazing. But some trees don't actually drop their leaves in the winter. They just kind of go dormant, so it kind of makes them look puny, and you'll think that they're not doing well, but it's fine. They're just going dormant. But then something's been chewing on my Tyson mulberry here. But some of them actually completely drop their leaves and go bare. Like the figs that I have, they'll drop all their leaves. You can see this dragon fruit is doing really well. I actually had to tie it again because it was getting tall enough to get tied up again. So I'm happy about that. Putting that little cage around it actually helped. So it's doing well. This peach tree is doing really well. Now it might drop all of its leaves once it gets to a certain temperature. We haven't had the right temperature yet, but it might. This moringa here is blooming again. I don't know if you can see that there. So I might get some more pods. The moringa I have back over there never blooms. I don't know why, but this one here always blooms. These loquats are continuing to grow. So this fig is doing better. It's actually putting on some new growth, so that shows that it's taken where I've planted it here. The roots have taken, which is good. This fig tree here, I don't know what to do with it. It keeps leaning further and further, and it you know, you can see I've tried to stake it up and it didn't do anything. But I'll have to figure something out. I mean, it's happy, but I just don't want it to fall over. But you can see how the leaves start to die and just look brown and sad. It's just because it's getting ready to go to sleep. And it will completely, it's not anything for a fig to completely lose all of its leaves in the winter and look like it's completely dead. But it's not. They will come back. It's not dead. It's just they go dormant. This is the supposed Pakistani mulberry. I'm not convinced that it's not an everbearing, because any of the berries we've seen on it are small, and Pakistani mulberries are long. But yeah, not a whole bunch going on. One thing, I have to check the other yam, but this yam here, some of the leaves are starting to die, which means it's probably going to die back. Actually, that's it right there. That's some of the yam right there. But this Caesar weed's all in here, and the rosary peas all in here. But where you can see where it's growing up the cherry tree here, some of the leaves are starting to die back. It's not dying back enough to where the entire plant is dying back yet, but once that happens, when it dies back to the ground or gets close to it, you can harvest. So that's what I'm going to do this year. I'm going to dig it up. I'm going to save part of it to plant again, and then we're going to eat the other part of it. And they're very good. It's another plant that's just, you know, you really, really need to grow it if you're in Florida, because it grows so well here, and you can completely neglect it and it will grow. It will do better if you don't neglect it, but if you do, it still will grow. These Mexican sunflowers are doing really well. I actually sent an email to David the Good, because I'm not sure. He probably gets tired of getting my emails because I email him all the time. But I sent him an email because I'm not sure when or if I should wait to start chopping and dropping with them. So we'll see if I get a response. I know he is a busy man. So I'm just gonna not fertilize, that's tomorrow. I'm going to pollinate a pumpkin here. But yeah, Thursdays are my fertilizing days. If it's not raining, we're supposed to actually have another little cold front come in. I know it's supposed to rain Friday. I don't know if it's going to start tomorrow. So there we go. We'll have a pumpkin there. I've got a few pumpkins that are almost ready to be picked. And like I've said before, what I've learned through asking, oh look, this is that flower that was over here that just hung on. It is I think it's called a Pele mum. It's a mum. And I remember I bought it, I think last year or the year before. And I bought it just to kind of give it to my wife, and then we left it outside, and then I was like, well, I'll just plant it and see what happens. Well, there you go. It's blooming again. So it's happy enough where it is to bloom. So but anyways, when you're looking at harvesting Seminole pumpkins, don't necessarily look at how orange the pumpkin is. There are varieties of Seminole pumpkin that don't turn orange at all. They'll turn white, or they'll be green. What you need to look at is the stem. And in fact, I think this one is ready to go. Because you can see the stem is dying back. It's turning yellowy, browny color as opposed to a green color, as opposed to like this one. See, it's still kind of, it's starting to turn that pale color, but it's still got green. Whereas this one is mostly turning yellow. That one is, I need to harvest that one. That's what you look at. Look at the stem. Don't look at the pumpkin, because the pumpkin is not necessarily going to look the way you expect it to look when it's ready to be harvested. Like this one here, it's getting ready. You see how it's starting to turn a yellowy browny color. But if you harvest it too early, it's not that you can't use it, it's just the flavor won't be as good. Just let it sit for, it's good to let them sit and cure for at least a few weeks. But if you harvest it too early, I would let it sit a little longer than that. But yeah, there are going to be, even with this variety that I have here, which is just an heirloom variety, so they do turn orange. I have some, like this one here. This one here is not fully orange yet, but you can see the stem is starting already to lose that dark green color. It's starting to, it doesn't look like this, that green color. Now, I know that mine will start to turn orange because of the variety that I have, but I will have some that may not be solid orange. There may be some green speckled in there. But again, it's all about looking at the stem. Look at the stem. When the stem is dying back, that means that the pumpkin's ready to be harvested, because it's not getting nutrients anymore. If the stem is still green, that means that it's still pulling nutrients from the vine. So I'm going to actually harvest that one, because the stem is pretty much yellow and it's ready to go. When you harvest, and I'll show you also what to do when you harvest it, you want to leave at least an inch of stem on the pumpkin, because as it sits and cures, it'll pull all the rest of the nutrients out of that stem, and it will it'll help it not to, if you cut it too short, it could actually be detrimental to the pumpkin. So let me get the pruners here, and I'll just use those to get it. The banana that we planted here is doing really well. It's put on, this is its third leaf, and it's putting on new leaves very, very rapidly. So I'm happy about that. That means it's happy where it is. But I'll show you, at least an inch of stem left. You can leave even more. I mean, obviously you don't need to get carried away and leave like a foot of stem, but you need to leave at least an inch. And again, if you're looking for a plant that's easy to grow, you gotta go with Seminole pumpkin. Unless you just don't like pumpkins. If you don't like pumpkins, then I understand. There's no point in you growing. But okay, so you don't want to snip it right here. I go all the way up here. And there you go. And now it's ready. But you can see, if I can get the lighting right, you can see that there's still some kind of greenish, to it. But that will fade. When it's curing, it will fade. But it is, like I keep saying, it's not about the color of the pumpkin. It's about, these are not like your typical pie pumpkins where, they're going to be that perfect orange color, These are different. And I think I'm going to leave that one a little bit longer. The stem still looks a little too green. But this one right here, this stem was actually starting to turn brown in certain spots, which means it was dying. The vine was dying back, not the pumpkin. The vine was dying back, which means that it's ready to go. So I gotta wipe this off. I wouldn't wash it. I wouldn't put water on it. I would just, if it's dirty like this one is, just take a paper towel and wipe it off. Excuse me. But yeah, so there you go. But you can see there are parts of the stem, like in the middle it's still green, so you let it sit for a while, and this is why you leave this stem on there. It will pull all the rest of the nutrients that's in there, the water and everything else. It will pull it down into the fruit. But you can look and see that, like right in here, see how it's starting to brown? That's a sign that it's ready to be picked. So again, always check the stems when you're going to harvest the pumpkins. That will tell you if it's ready or not. Yeah, I mean, that's a dead giveaway. If it's still green, or you know, if this was just like some of the ones I showed you that were kind of a light green, you could see starting to turn yellow, they're still not ready yet. This one was mostly yellow, starting to turn brown. That means it's ready. If it's completely brown, it's certainly absolutely ready. But yeah, leave a stem about that long, and then let this sit. You can use it right away. It's just not going to have as much flavor as if you let it sit for a few weeks. The flavor will kind of mature, like they call it curing. That's what I heard David the Good call it, was let it sit and cure. But it will cure, the flavor will get a little sweeter, that sort of thing. But we had one last year that a squirrel had kind of taken a bite of, but it didn't completely pierce it, but it pierced it enough that I didn't want to just let it sit, because it possibly could have started to rot. So we cooked it right away, and it was still good, but it just, the flavor is not as rich as if you let it sit for a few weeks and, you know, finish pulling some of the nutrients out of the stem, and just let it kind of just, I don't know, relax for a little while. So that's about it for today. Actually, the last thing I'm going to do, because I haven't looked at it in a while, is check on my vanilla, so we can go do that. I'll probably fertilize the blueberries tomorrow too. Use this azalea fertilizer. Is good for blueberries because it's acidic, and blueberries like acidic soil. So that's what I'll probably fertilize those tomorrow, barring rain, of course. But I'll fertilize the rest of the plants tomorrow. I got a couple barrels, as I think you've seen, and I need to start making some biochar and whatnot in it, but I haven't yet. Let's see what's going on over here. Need to clear some of this away, but it's doing well. It's climbing up that root there, which is what I want it. I don't want it to just climb on up the tree. So it's doing well. This one's doing well. It's actually climbing up this tree. You can see, let me get the phone right. You can see a couple of spots see how it's grabbing on right there. So it's doing well. It looks like something might have, I don't know, bitten it or something right there at the tip. But it might be growing from the bottom. Like it might just get longer from the bottom. I don't know. But I hope nobody messes with my vanilla. If they do, I'll just have to get some more. But I really want to be able to make my own vanilla extract, especially with the way things are going, and things are getting so much more expensive, and it's already expensive to buy. It's like $8 to $10 to buy just one bean. So, but that way, if I could grow my own vanilla, get a bottle of bourbon or get a bottle of vodka or something like that, put the pods in there and let it sit for a while, make your own vanilla extract. So anyways, that's it for today, and I will be back next week with another video. I appreciate you watching as always. Please like, leave a comment, let me know what kind of videos you want to see, and we will get to it. And I would greatly appreciate any subscriptions, anyone sharing with any of your friends. I need your help to grow this channel. I can't grow it by myself. So thanks again for watching, and I'll catch you next week.